Hey, what's going on everybody? It's BB Smith 0711 here, and today I have a new series to start, and it's going to be a game mode series, so tips for different game modes in Modern Warfare 3, and we're going to start it out with Domination, and this is on hardhat. It's a little Domination. I go 44 and 9. I'm using the PP90 M1 with the silencer and rapid fire as usual, and I think I'm using the specialist strike package in this one, in which I'm using my normal quick draw, hard line, dead silence, marksman, something along those lines, sleight of hand, scavenger. It changes for I change it up a lot, so I don't really remember exactly what I'm using. And yeah, so one thing I want to talk about before I get started is that this morning I looked on my channel, and I just surpassed 10,000 video views, which is pretty amazing and a good feat for me. It's something that I had wanted to get to for a while, and it means a lot. And I now have 52 subscribers, so I want to thank all of you guys, and I hope to see a lot more on here, and I hope to hear a lot more feedback from my subscribers. Okay, so let's get started with the tip section of this video. So the number one tip for Domination when it starts out is that you get that closest flag to you. And it seems obvious, but a lot of people will run to B instead of getting their well, sometimes B is closest, but normally it's either C or A. So let's say C's closest to you. Some people will run straight to B, and that's okay if you have a good team, especially in like ground war where you have 12 people, or I'm sorry, 9 people instead of 6. It may be a little easier, especially if you're talking to each other on a headset and stuff like that. But for this one, if you're playing in a group of randoms or even 6v6 Domination, it's much easier to just go ahead and cap that first flag, get your XP for that, and then go for B. So if you have the good team and you're talking to each other, you can go for both flags at the same time. The outside flag, either A or C, and the middle flag B, and go ahead and get those two together. So if not, if you go to the first flag, if you go to the first closest outside flag first, then you're going to want to go at B with caution, because on the other team there's always going to be people that run straight to that, like I just told you not to do. And they're going to be there, or they're going to be very close to it, and they're going to be waiting for you to come around the corner closest to your outside flag, so they know where you're coming from. And once they see that you cap that other flag, they're going to be looking for you to come straight to B. So you want to make sure that you are cautious and that you come in from a different angle than they expect you to. So always try to flank them if you can. Sometimes there's only one way to be, and you kind of got to watch out. So what I've been kind of hinting at, and something that's controversial with Domination, is the fact that, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion, I think in a logical sense, the best way to go about Domination is to capture an outside flag, either A or C, and B, and hold those down for the map if you can. Hold them down the best that you can. So a lot of people say capture all three, and I'll talk about why I don't think that's a great idea later on. But if the B flag is too hard to get there at the beginning, right after you capture your outside flag, if B is kind of highly contested, don't waste your time on it. Don't waste all of your time at the beginning trying to capture B and dying 4 or 5 times, because the enemy team is ranking those points up, because they probably got their outside flag too. So they're ranking 2 points for every one that you get. So it adds up, and eventually it's going to be inevitable that they're going to win, because they got so many points on you at the beginning of the game. So go around them and get their outside flag. So if you have C and you're trying to go for B but it's contested, go for A instead. And the reason why you do this is because it draws the other team away from B, and they come at either C, they come at C and A, and they want to get one of those to kind of offset you getting theirs behind them. A lot of them will try to go for the one you got at the beginning just to try to fool you. So once you draw them away, it makes it easier to capture B. And at one point you may have to hold down all three, but go ahead and let them capture the one furthest from you. And yeah, that's why you want to go for B only if it's not highly contested. If it is, go around and get their other flag, get the opposite outside flag. And that's the best and the most highly controversial thing about Domination. That's the best way I've learned to go about it through all the Call of Duty series, including this one. So now we'll talk about the reason why you don't capture all 3 flags. And you want to capture, like I said, your outside flag and B flag. And when you do this, the reason why you want to do this is because you're going to know the general area that the enemy team is coming from. So let's say you're holding down C and B at this point in the game, and your enemy, you know, has A. Well, they are coming from A. I mean, that's where they're going to spawn at. You don't necessarily spawn trap them, but you know that they're going to come at B from either one or two directions. They're not going to come from behind you for the most part, unless they've snuck all the way around the map without somebody else shooting them, which is highly unlikely if you're playing on a good team that's watching the areas. So if you got all three flags captured, they're going to come from anywhere. If you got A, B, and C captured, they can spawn at A, they can spawn near B, and they can spawn at C, and eventually your team's going to be flanked. And more than likely, when this happens, the other team usually ends up having at least 2 flags, and the tables just kind of flip and flip and flip if that's the way you play. And it's a silly way to do it because you die a lot and not a lot of points. The points just kind of flip-flop, and it takes forever to play the game that way. So that is why I don't think you should get all 3 flags. That's why I think 2 flags are important, and the third one should be left alone and let them have it. And that way you know where they're coming from. It's easier to use air support and stuff like that if you use those kind of kill streaks. Drop it right near their spawn and you're going to get them. And it's easier to kind of hold them off from getting your flags. So another key advice when you're holding these 2 flags is to move between them. Don't stay stationary at one flag, because they're not stupid. They're going to watch their kill cams if they get killed, especially more than one time in the same area, and they didn't see you. They're going to watch the kill cam, and they're going to see you and see any buddies that are in front of you, and they're going to keep coming back there, and eventually they're going to get you out of there and capture that flag. So you want to try to move in between the areas like you see me doing right now. I'm kind of moving between A and B, even though I don't have B held down at this point. I'm trying to move in between them and get these guys here in this little middle area, which I know they like to run in between to get to B from A, and try to get to A from B rather in this situation. So yeah, the enemies that will learn where you're at if you're stationary near a certain flag, and they're gonna eventually get you and capture that flag. So make sure you're always moving and you're always trying to stay away from the enemy and holding down your flags all at the same time. So another thing to remember in this game mode is that your KD ratio does not matter. And I know, it sounds weird for me saying this because I go 44-9 in this one or whatever, but your kill death ratio really has nothing to do with this game. Unlike team deathmatch, where you know the number of kills matters because that's what makes you win the game. If you get a certain amount of points, which are based off of kills, you win the game. In this situation, that is not the case. You get points for holding down the flag. You could die. You can go 0-49 and win the game. But the key point here is that that's not going to happen. If your team is doing well, you're going to do well. Now, are you necessarily going to always have a 44-9 gameplay? No, you are not. And sometimes you may even go negative, but you're not going to go 0-49. If your team is doing well and you know where the enemy's coming from, you're going to do a lot better in the game than you think you are. So that is my domination tips, and that is my first game mode tips video. I'm going to try to work on another one today, maybe upload it tonight, more than likely tomorrow. So stay tuned in for all the game mode tips that I'm going to do. I don't know how many yet, it depends on the feedback that I get. So as always, subscribe to never miss a video that I do, because I do a lot, and sometimes they're on an irregular upload basis. I usually do one a day. I try to. Sometimes it's every other day, and then some days I'll upload 2 or 3 videos. So make sure you're always tuned in, and that if you enjoy my commentaries, that you subscribe so that you will not miss one of those irregular upload dates. And make sure you comment on this video below and let me know what you think. And like the last video on Twisted Metal, stay tuned afterwards and I'll give you some videos to check out from my channel and a random video. So make sure you subscribe, rate, comment, like, all that stuff. Thanks guys, stay tuned afterwards. Hey, what's up guys? So on the left there, you're going to see my Modern Warfare 3 Top 5 Guns video. Click on that if that sounds good. On the right, you're going to see a Twisted Metal News Update Deathmatch video. So if you haven't seen Twisted Metal, check that out. And at the bottom, I'm going to put a random video. So if you want something random, check that out. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, comment, like, all that stuff. And I will see you next time, guys. Thanks a lot.